against Fulham, which is about as big as it gets, really, in terms of the battle for European football next season. I mean, both of these sides are flying, really. I mean, Bournemouth maybe tailed off ever so slightly in the last few weeks, last few months. Fulham beating Liverpool last week, riding high, and it's a really, really big game. I'm really, really looking forward to this one. Bournemouth have been maybe my favourite team to watch this season, non-Liverpool anyway, and I'm really gutted, actually, in the way that they've kind of fell off a cliff in the last couple of months, and I'm sure Bournemouth fans feel the same. But I've got a real soft spot for Marco Silva as well. I think he's a very, very underrated manager, and I thought Fulham played really well against Liverpool last week, to be honest. So, look, if they win tonight, I'm just going to take a quick look at the team news and the table, the Premier League table. I did have a look just before we got live. But if Fulham were to win tonight, they wouldn't move anywhere in terms of the Premier. They'd still stay in 8th position. However, they would be just 3 points behind Villa and Chelsea and 4 points behind Manchester City, who are in a Champions League spot. So they would be within touching distance of certainly a Conference League, if not a Europa League, and maybe even a Champions League spot if they can kick on. Fulham have got some favourable fixtures between now and the end of the season. They still have to play Southampton. They still have to play Everton. They've still got to play Brentford. And they do have to play some of the teams around them as well, the likes of Chelsea, Aston Villa and Manchester City. So if they can take points off those teams, plus the teams that maybe they would expect to be beating, who knows? Who knows? Can Fulham do it? Could Bournemouth spring a late sort of revival? I mean, Bournemouth, if they were to win, they'd still only be maybe 6 points off a European place. And, you know, they'd have 6 games left of the season. They've still got to play the likes of Manchester United. They've also got to play Leicester and maybe some of the team, Palace, some of the teams around them, the likes of City, Villa, Arsenal as well. I mean, Arsenal, maybe the title will be done and dusted by the time they play Bournemouth, and maybe Arsenal will be in the next round and of the Champions League and have one eye on the next round of that. So you just never know. I think both of these sides have got a really, really good chance of qualifying for Europe for the first time in a very long time. I think it'd be the first time ever in Bournemouth's case. Fulham, maybe not quite as long, but, you know, they've had a great run in Europe not all that long ago, it feels like, when they reached the final. But I'm just going to catch up on the chat. Scouse House, I'd say both score. I'd say both get a goal. Don't know who takes the match. That's what I mean, mate. It's so hard to call this one, isn't it? So hard to call. Dylan, score predictions. I think I've got to go with Scouse House on it. I've got to say, I think it's going to be a score draw. I can't really predict other. I think there's going to be goals in it, though. I do think there's going to be goals in it. Let me take a quick look at the lineups. Let's see if the lineups might give us an indication here, because there's been some players missing for Bournemouth, hasn't there? You know, going back to the City game in the FA Cup, they've been quite disappointing. And in that game, they didn't have Kirkes, they didn't have Hyson, they didn't have Semenyo in the team. All of those players are back tonight. So Bournemouth's starting lineup, I'll just go through it now. They've got Arrizabalaga in goal, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Back four of Adam Smith, Marcos Senesi alongside Hyson. No Zabarnyi, he's dropped to the bench tonight. It's usually Zabarnyi and Hyson, isn't it, at centre-back for Bournemouth. But it's Senesi and Hyson, Kirkes at left-back. Sitting in midfield, you've got Cook and Tyler Adams with Alex Scott just in front of them. And then the front three is Dango Ouattara, Semenyo and Evan Nilsson. No Cliver tonight, that's a big loss. No Ryan Christie as well, that's a big loss. Sinistera and Unal are still out, of course. But there's a number of players there I think can really hurt Fulham. The likes of Semenyo, Ouattara. Evan Nilsson's on a bit of a goal-scoring run at the moment as well. So I guess we'll see how he fares. Looking at Fulham, it's Bernd Leno in goal. Back four of Anthony Robinson at left-back, Calvin Bassey and Joachim Andersen at centre-half with Timothy Castagna at right-back. I thought Bassey was terrific against Liverpool last week. Anthony Robinson always is, isn't he? Sitting, we've got Lukic and Berger, and Pereira just in front of them in the 10 position. And then on the wings, Sessegnon and Iwobi, and up front the lone striker Rodrigo Muniz. What do we make of those lineups? I mean, no Raul Jimenez for Fulham. The likes of Willian, Adama Traore, Smith Rowe, who could potentially come on and change the game. I think Bournemouth look like they may have a touch more from the bench. Maybe Tavernier, Brooks. Obviously, Zabarnyi could come on and maybe shore things up as well. So, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting game tonight. I am really, really looking forward to it. It's not maybe for a Monday night football, the game it's not the glamour tie that many would expect, Bournemouth against Fulham. It sounds a bit bland. But actually looking at where these two have been this season, and they're just so close to European football. We really could be talking tonight, I think, about the end of Bournemouth's season. I think if Fulham were to beat them tonight, that might just put the nail in the coffin, do you think? I've been really worried about Bournemouth. Worried's probably a stretch. Look, either way, they've had a very, very good season, a strong season. I don't think anyone would dispute that. But they've gone from being so good to just, they have fell off a cliff. It's not been a gradual drop in form. It's been they fell off a cliff. That's the only way to describe it. They have fallen off a cliff. And yeah, I don't know if it's maybe, I've mentioned it before on other lives, is it the fact that Andoni Iraola is rumoured to be leaving the club in the summer, whether that be for someone like Tottenham or maybe Real Madrid, who are potentially looking for a manager? Could he be going back to Spain? Could another of the top clubs be eyeing Andoni Iraola? We know he's been well liked and well scouted, and he's ran things so well at Bournemouth now for such a long time, and he's had a sustained impact. But it feels to me as if the rumours around Kirkes, the rumours around Hyson, the rumours around Semenyo as well, even Clivert to an extent, and the manager, Iraola, 5 really key players at Bournemouth, just all of a sudden kind of happened around the same time in January. And then as soon as that happened, it just fell off a cliff. And I cannot explain how or why that happened. But it does just seem to me that there has been a little bit of maybe something in the background. Do you think maybe something behind closed doors? Do the players know? Do the players know that Iraola's going to leave? Do some of the other players know that other players are going to leave? That can change the dynamic in a dressing room, can't it? If you're looking around the dressing room and you're wondering, are these players really in it for us? Are they going out on the pitch willing to kind of die for the cause, or are they thinking about, what house they're going to get when they move next season? Are they already thinking about their new teammates? Are they going to be playing in Europe next season? Are they going to be doing this or that? It just feels like, maybe the momentum, the morale, the application has certainly dropped, I would say, at Bournemouth. It doesn't seem like they're even remotely the same side. Whereas Fulham, I feel like it's gone completely the opposite way. They've had some, I guess almost, they've been written off at different times of the season, haven't they? Myself included, I've got to say. I've said, I think, as early as January, I think I said Fulham's season is just kind of dissipating, isn't it? It's gone from being one, and then all of a sudden they get to an FA Cup quarter-final. Admittedly, they get knocked out by Palace, but did well to get there. And now could potentially be as little as 3 or 4 points off a Champions League place after tonight. So, going into the last six games of the season. So, I think Marco Silva's done amazingly well, and he has to be given credit. He really does. Right, let's just catch up on the chat. Rubes, I'm at work. Oh well, just see if you can if you can stick with us for as long as possible, mate. But don't cost yourself your job. Dylan Sessegnon is going to have a masterclass. I was really surprised with Ryan Sessegnon. Actually, he came on against Liverpool, or was it the game before that? It might have been against Palace, and he got the captaincy. And I don't know, does it resonate with anyone else. Maybe I've just had like massive time delay or something, but I feel like Ryan Sessegnon, in my head at least, I know it's not the case, but I still imagine Ryan Sessegnon to be that like 16-year-old kid or 17-year-old kid that broke through, and was this wonder kid that everyone was trying to get. He ended up going to Spurs. His career kind of fell away for a few years. But when he came on and got the captaincy, I was a little bit like, he can't be much more than maybe 21 or 22. But I was wrong. I was wrong. But I think he did really well. Obviously, he scored or played really well against Liverpool, definitely. I can't remember how old he was. I remember looking at it the other day, though. Let me have a look. Ryan Sessegnon. He's 24. He's 24. But he's still young. He's still young either way. Kane, how you doing? Good to have you in the chat, mate. Thank you for the GIFTS, Rubes. As always, you're a good lad. I appreciate it. Scouse House, too hard to call for me, but Fulham are in form. Yeah, very much so. I mean, just looking at the form, actually, let's look at the form table. Let's look at these two teams' recent results. So, Bournemouth, if we go to the head-to-head, Bournemouth have had just one win in their last 8 games. And that was on penalties, funnily enough, against Wolves in the Cup. So, in the last 8 games, they have drawn 2, lost 5, won 1, and that was on penalties. So, bad news for Bournemouth. In terms of Fulham, I mean, I think Fulham are marginally better. They have 4 wins in their last 8. So let's go across the same period. Across the same period, 8 games, Bournemouth have 1 win, 2 draws, 5 defeats. The 1 win coming on penalties. Fulham have 4 wins, 4 losses. And one of those wins came on penalties against Manchester United at Old Trafford. So Fulham's form actually isn't all that great, but it's a lot better than than Bournemouth's. So Fulham's form actually goes back. Their good form was before that, actually. Going into the Manchester United game, they'd only lost once in their last 7 games. So they were actually banging form going into Manchester United, but recently they have dropped off a little bit. Obviously, they got beat against Fulham. That was a disappointing one. It was a 99th minute penalty against against Brighton at the Amex. They lost in the FA Cup against Palace at home. I thought Palace battered them that day. And they got beat at home. They got beat at the Emirates against Arsenal. So, yeah, I mean, look, I don't think necessarily Fulham have been terrible. They haven't at all. But they've definitely dropped off. They've dropped off, almost certainly. Will Sings, good to have you in the chat, mate. Saw your videos the other day. Keep going, good singing. Loved all that. Loved the Tenacious D. Big fan of the D. Yes, mate, Clivert being out for Bournemouth is bonkers. It's disappointing, isn't it? I'm looking forward to seeing Clivert. He always feels like a bit of a throwback, Clivert, in that he's one of those players that doesn't mind taking a shot from distance. And we've got to cherish them in the Premier League. We've got to cherish players who are willing to have a shot from distance and have a goal from outside the box. There's not too many of them, and I love that. I love players who who are willing to have a go. Kane, Iraola to Leverkusen might be a good move if Alonso leaves. Yeah, didn't think of that. Yeah, may well be. How old is Clivert? Is he quite old or not? I think he's mid-20s. Is he maybe 25, 26? I mean, he's bounced around a little bit. He was at Roma for a little bit. But he's not too old. I'd still say he's mid-20s coming into his prime. Let's just have a look. He's 25. Yeah, 25. Zia, yo, mate, what team do you want to win, my broski? I don't know, really. I guess I feel like if Bournemouth win, it would kind of be a little bit of a waste. I want an outsider to really challenge for those Champions League places, as well as Nottingham Forest. I'd love Fulham to get in the mix and maybe drag City out and drag Chelsea out. I'd love that. So my team all season, my second team all season, has been Bournemouth, just because I love Iraola. I love some of the players they've got. But I think I'm probably going to err on the side of supporting Fulham a little bit tonight. I don't know. Do you know what? I'm just going to enjoy the game, mate. I'm just going to enjoy the game. I'm just going to see what happens. I'm quite happy either way. I'm looking forward to the game. Will sings, I'm going 2-1 Bournemouth win. Could well be. Yeah, could well be. I mean, Bournemouth have got goals in them. They've got some of their big players back tonight, as we said. Kirkes, Hyson, Semenyo's back in. Ouattara as well. I look forward to seeing Ouattara. I think he's got a big future in the game. He just needs to stay consistent. He feels like he comes in and out the side quite a bit for Bournemouth. Needs to really get hold of a run of games. Kane, opinions on Muniz. Could he play for a top 6 side? I'm kind of on the. There's players like Rodrigo Muniz. I do like him, and I like João Pedro as well from Brighton. But I would file him in the same category of. I'm not sure that I would want either of them at Liverpool starting. Maybe as backup. And if I consider the top 6 to be quite tight, and I do. If I was a Chelsea fan, would I be delighted with the signing of Rodrigo Muniz? No. If I was a Newcastle fan and we lost Isak, If I was a Newcastle fan and we lost Isak, would I be delighted with the signing of Rodrigo Muniz as a replacement? No. So, could he? Yeah, I guess he could. But I think he's got a bit more to prove yet. And I think not that his level is Fulham, but I think he would benefit. I think Fulham would benefit and he would benefit from staying at Fulham probably for at least another year. Scouse House, if they lose all top players, I don't know where they'll finish next season, but would have pennies in the pot. Yeah, that's true. I guess they're gonna have to do something, aren't they? They're gonna have to do something if they lose those players. That's kind of Bournemouth's model. They're a little bit like Brighton. Maybe it's a South Coast thing. I don't know. Bournemouth, Brighton, Southampton did a little bit of that years ago, before they lost all the backroom staff. But yeah, South Coast clubs are quite good at the whole, getting players on side, building them up, developing them, selling them for big cash, and going again and getting the next hot young, player off the production line. Kane, Fulham fans love Sessegnon. He's passionate about the club, which is why I think he thrives. Yeah, he's a London boy, isn't he? Will, it's a good shout. I couldn't tell you, mate. I couldn't tell you. You'll have to ask him. Ben, hi Key, how's your day been, pal? It's good, mate. Yeah, really, really good today. What did I do today? I can't remember. Honestly can't remember what I've been doing today. Went the tip. Did a tip run. Just emptied loads of boxes and all that junk. The stuff that just accumulates in like the garage and stuff, and you just go and do. Just did a big tip run today. And then yeah, just kind of out and about. Errands. Lots of errands. Monday morning, lots of errands. Did bits and bobs. Took the dogs out, came back, and then went to pick my little girl up from school. So not like loads and loads done today, loads achieved, but yeah, been working away for the last couple of hours and looking forward to this stream tonight. So yeah, really looking forward to it. DR Mario, hi, good night. It's good to have you back, mate. Good to have you back. FM No Casuals, passionate about Fulham, doesn't sit right. Did I say did I just say that? I honestly can't remember. Did I actually say I'm passionate about Fulham, or did someone else say that? Passionate about Fulham. Oh, Sessegnon. Yes, sorry. Ignore me. You're right. Yeah, passionate about Fulham. Listen, someone's got to be passionate about Fulham. Callum the Red, Bournemouth 0, Fulham 2, Muniz and Pereira. Yeah, I get the feeling Fulham going to sneak this. I don't know why. I do get the feeling that that we're going to get a bit more goals in this tonight either way. I'm hoping just for a good game, a good entertaining game. We had a run of live streams, not last week, the week before, where we had a run of just 0-0s or 1-0s for about 5 or 6 streams. We did the Manchester Derby, we did Liverpool, Everton, we did Nottingham Forest, Man United, we did... I can't remember. We did loads where it was just 0-0 or 1-0, 0-0 or 1-0. It was boring. Absolutely boring. So I like the fact that yesterday and over the weekend we had Man City 5, Palace 2. We had obviously Liverpool scoring a late winner 2-1. We had Newcastle battering Man United 4-1. We're getting high-scoring games back on Premier League Dad Live. So I want another high-scoring game tonight. Let's have lots of goals. Let me use my scoreboard. I've got a new scoreboard. I want to use the graphic that pops up. I'm proud of that. I've invested in that. Scouse House, what would you say to Ekitike and Delap for us to refresh our front two? I think absolutely Jota and Darwin go in the summer. I absolutely agree. I think those two 100% leave. And Delap is growing on me, isn't he? Well, you wouldn't know. But Delap is growing on me, certainly. I don't know what he is for you. But I mean, the fact that he's only 30 million quid is a bargain. I'm a big believer that price shouldn't necessarily matter to fans because we're not paying the cash. I mean, I guess we are at the end of the day in terms of ticket prices and whatever else, but it's not coming out of our pocket if the club decide to spend that money on... If they went and got Alexander Isak for 150 million, I would think that's a bad waste of money, even though he's a terrific player. And I watched him the other night against United. I thought he was fantastic. But 150 million is a lot of money to blow on one player when you could go and get Delap for 30 million, who is obviously not as good, but I think in years to come, as part of a squad, he could still contribute to a successful squad. I really like Delap. I do like Delap. Ekitike, I'm still not sure on. I think he fits a profile, doesn't he, for Liverpool? Like, Ekitike's probably one that you look at and go, yeah, decent, fast, kind of got the frame for the Premier League a little bit. Good finisher. I think the problem I've got with Ekitike is, as much as I've just said he's got the frame, he's tall, he's lanky, he's kind of a bit... He's quick. My worry is that he's not as strong as I would like a sole centre-forward to be. I would prefer, if we're going for someone like that, I would prefer us to go for someone like Sesko or... I mean, look, I keep saying his name, but it's a ridiculous shout. I don't think he's going to come to Liverpool this summer. But in future, keep an eye out for Tierno Barry at Villarreal. Keep an eye out for him. Honestly, Osimhen as well. I think Osimhen's a good signing for someone this summer. He strikes me as a Chelsea signing. But Tierno Barry at Villarreal, he's growing on me. Delap is growing on me. Hey Prem Dad, what's your fascination with Delap? I haven't got a fascination with him. Someone just asked me about him, and I thought, do you know what? Yeah, go on. We'll have a little look see. Right, hang on a second. Come on. Right, hang on a second. Let me get the old scoreboard running. Bournemouth are in here. Oh my God, it's 1-0. I've not even got my scoreboard turned on. It's Semenyo. Within 59 seconds, it's Bournemouth 1, Fulham 0. Goodness me. Get in there. What a start. Anthony Robinson going absolutely... He's raging. He's raging. Has there been a mistake here? I was setting my scoreboard up. I've not even looked up. Absolute amateur decision for me to get that sorted after kickoff. Silly. It was a simple error from Fulham. They give the ball away in their own half. Scott breaks forward. Oh, Anthony Robinson's dove in. It's a great finish from Semenyo. Yeah, it's Alex Scott driving forward. He does get clipped there, but it's a good pass. Semenyo just opens his body up and puts it in the bottom corner. It's a great finish, that. Great finish. Joachim Anderson's, he's got him on strings. He's like, I don't know where he's gone. And he sent him and he put it in the bottom corner. What a finish. What a finish. And Fulham straight on the attack the other end. This is going to be end-to-end, this, isn't it? End-to-end. Bournemouth 1, Fulham 0. What a start. That's exactly what we wanted. Wonderful. Right, hang on a second. Let me catch up with everyone. I've not even got myself going here. Here we go. Kane, if Delap comes to United, Kieran will slander him. Absolutely. And in the same way, if Delap comes to Liverpool, you'll slander him as well. And if he goes to Chelsea, we'll both slander him. But we'll see. It'll all be good. We'll still be here next season. We'll have that conversation. And we'll remember this. We'll remember this discussion. Ben, I think Delap will be an average career Premier League striker. Nothing outstanding, but will carve out a solid Prem career for himself. Often they can be the best sort of backup strikers, though. I don't think he's ever going to be someone that comes and is like immediately, wow, what a fantastic player. But, you know, Daniel Sturridge was in that phase of his career when he came to Liverpool. Daniel Sturridge wasn't out special when he came to Liverpool. Danny Ings, you know, if Danny Ings hadn't had the big knee injury, I think Danny Ings would probably still be at Liverpool. Maybe not still be at Liverpool now, but he'd be a different player. Danny Ings was a very, very talented player. Very good player. Better than, his career probably didn't do him justice in many ways. The fact that he went to Southampton and West Ham and Villa after Liverpool, I thought he was a better player than that, but his knee did him. He was never quite the same after that. Edward, thank you very much for the GIFTS. I appreciate it. I don't know what they are, but thank you. You're an absolute star, mate. Thank you for that. Mario, who win? I mean, I had Fulham. I said Fulham before the game, foolishly, and it looks like Bournemouth obviously starting really well. It's almost 50 seconds in. And look at us, honestly. We're all saying Fulham's going to win. And they still might, I guess. But we're all calling Fulham as the winners here. And, Bournemouth with the fast start. Regan, what country are you from, bro? I am from the United Kingdom. I'm from England, just outside Liverpool. Ben, no problem with him as a backup option. Yeah, but I think he would only ever come in as backup initially, and I think he would understand that. It's whether or not he's happy enough with that, or does he want to go somewhere and play every game? Because if he does, then maybe United's the right place for him. Edward, Daniel Sturridge was world class. He was world class, but he wasn't world class like all the time from the off. If you remember, he was another player who needed a bit of time to kind of settle in. Right, here we go. Ben, who do you support? He's a Liverpool fan as well, Regan. Edward, hang on. Ben, I'd love Jonathan David, especially on a free. Could prove unbelievable business. I mean, Jonathan David's made it very well known that he'd like to go to Barcelona. I kind of can't be bothered with the whole... Imagine he comes to Liverpool, lights up the Premier League, scores loads, and then we've got Barcelona hanging around him in a couple of years. I just can't be arsed with that whole drama again. It's annoying. Napoli 1, Empoli 0, just in case anyone else is keeping tabs on what's going on elsewhere. And it's Scott McTominay for any Manchester United fans who are bothered. You know, Manchester United have needed a sitting midfielder with a lot of energy. Maybe someone who could get goals from deep, not just Bruno Fernandes. Someone who can contribute going forward and kind of pick teams off as well. They might have already had one who they've just let go. Scott McTominay with the goal for Napoli. Incredible. What else is going on tonight? Hull and Coventry. That's a big one in the Championship. If anyone's keeping tabs on that, I'll let you know how that's getting on. Big game in the Championship in the race for the playoffs. And also at the bottom as well. Hull aren't that far off relegation, so... Big game at both ends of the table. If Coventry can get a win here, they'd go above Bristol City into 5th. Scouse would... I said both to score, but I couldn't call, mate. But Bournemouth have started well. They have, haven't they? I mean, it's been, since the goal, Fulham have had a lot of the ball. Bournemouth are doing what Bournemouth have done in every game that I've watched them in over the last couple of months, which is they get the ball and within maybe 3 passes, they've let it go. That was a good finish by Semenyo. However, if you're Marco Silva, you are looking at Anthony Robinson there. You are looking at Anthony Robinson. Anthony Robinson has dove in there. He got the ball caught under his feet for one, and then he dives in to kind of compound the issue. He just needed to steer Semenyo into the corner, keep him away, keep him off his left foot, because that's where he's always going to go. Semenyo's always cutting in. Ouattara's always cutting in. You know, it was always likely to be that. Regan, I think no one will come to United if we don't win the Europa League. It's certainly going to affect Manchester United, isn't it? We've had that conversation numerous times in the chat over the last couple of weeks, couple of months, how important it is to Manchester United to be qualifying for the Champions League. And the only way they're doing that is by winning a big European competition. Fulham are in here. Well done. Good defending by Liverpool's new left-back. If rumours are to be believed, Liverpool's new left-back. And Dominic Szoboszlai's international Hungarian teammate, Milos Kerkez. Very, very good defending that. Very good defending. Wonderful defending. Yeah, but it's massive for Manchester United. Just coming back to what we were saying, it is massive for Manchester United. They do need to be getting Champions League football because that just massively affects what the budget is, what players they can attract, maybe what players stay, all that sort of stuff. And that is exactly what Roy Keane was saying last night after the Newcastle game, funnily enough. I listened to the pundits after the game, and Roy Keane was pointing out United, 200 million quid is not, if that is the budget for this summer, 200 million quid is not what it once was. That's maybe enough for 3 or 4 top players nowadays. Maybe 4 or 5 at best. United need 7 or 8 players. And it's going to be very difficult for them. But hey, here we go. Let's see what happens on Thursday night. I'm going to be doing a live for that one as well, by the way. If you're here for the Manchester United game, I'm live every day this week. I'm live every single day this week. I'll mention it a few times during the live, so let me off. But I'm live tomorrow night, Tuesday, for Aston Villa against PSG in the Champions League. Can Aston Villa turn that one round, 3-1 down? I'm not confident, but we've seen stranger things happen in the Champions League, haven't we? So let's see how Aston Villa get on tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to that. Wednesday night, obviously Newcastle play Crystal Palace on Wednesday night in the Premier League, but we're obviously going to be looking at and doing the live watch-along of Real Madrid against Arsenal at the Bernabeu. I still think there's a chance in that game. I still think Real Madrid can get an early goal and put a bit of pressure on Arsenal. I don't expect it'll happen, but I think they will. Or I'm hoping they will. And then on Thursday night, I am going to do the 5:45 kickoff in the Conference League. I don't expect many people will want to watch it, but I'm going to do it because I'm going to watch it anyway. So if you fancy just coming and having a natter with me on Thursday, I'll be live from 5:30 for Fiorentina against Celje, it's 2-1 to Fiorentina from the first leg in that one. And then straight after that game, at 8 o'clock, we will be going to Old Trafford for Manchester United against Lyon. And come on, Lyon. Come on, Lyon. And that's it. And then I said I was live every day this week. I'm not live on Friday. But we're back on Saturday with more Premier League action. So we're live pretty much every day. Ben Iwobi to score or assist. I mean, Iwobi seems to be tucking in, doesn't he? He seems to be playing a bit more central. They always start him on the left, and he always drifts inside. He feels like under Marco Silva, Iwobi is almost, he kind of gets a free roll. You just go wherever you want, because he'll pop up on the left, he'll pop up on the right. You see him get into the box. Right now he's on the edge of the area, almost covering for Fulham defensively. I think when I looked, again, I don't know if this is still the case, but when I looked about a month ago, 4 to 6 weeks ago, Alex Iwobi, I'm going to have to double check this, so don't quote me on it like I've definitely said it, but I am sure Alex Iwobi was one of, if not the most distance covered in the Premier League. He's just everywhere. He covers so much distance for Fulham. He's really important, and that's why I included him in my potential team of the season. I think if Fulham get Europe, Alex Iwobi is a potential shout for team of the season. Very, very good player. And look at that. Points won from losing positions. Man City top, then Liverpool, then Villa, then Newcastle, then Fulham. Fulham very, very good when going behind. So this is certainly not over. Fulham, one of the best teams in the Premier League when in a losing position. Regan, Iwobi will score an equaliser, mark my words. You're right. Maybe, yeah. Scouse House question, if you had FSG's pennies, who are you wanting for us? I think Liverpool need, maybe not, Manchester United needed open heart surgery. That's what Ralph Rangnick said. I don't think Liverpool need open heart surgery, but I actually think Liverpool probably have maybe more incomings and outgoings than Manchester United this summer. For different reasons. I think Manchester United don't have the money to invest that the fans may think they do. I don't think they're going to win the Europa. And I think, therefore, the money that they need to invest, they won't get. That's why I think Amorim will be out of a job by Christmas. He'll either walk or he'll be pushed. So I expect Manchester United will maybe only sign 4 or 5 players. And they won't be the level that they're expecting. And I think Liverpool probably sell. Obviously, Trent's going. I think we'll probably sell Tsimikas, so we'll need a new left back, assuming that's Kirkes. I think Kwanzaa and or Gomez probably go. One of those certainly will go, I would imagine, and we'll get one new centre back in. Kelleher's going to go. Obviously, Mamadashvili's coming in. Potentially, there's rumours about Mamadashvili, by the way, wanting to stay at Valencia for another year because he doesn't think that he's going to get regular starts at Liverpool and he wants to stay and play as number one at Valencia, which I've kind of no problem with, to be honest. Alisson isn't going anywhere yet. He's still the best in the world. He's got another 2 years left on his contract. So after next season, then maybe. But Mamadashvili's quality. I watched Valencia play against Real Madrid the other week, and he was the best player on the pitch for Valencia. Valencia won the game almost, I would say, down to Mamadashvili. He's been terrific. Fabulous goalkeeper. So when Alisson does go, we have got a brilliant, brilliant backup to come straight into the team. And then into midfield, I think Harvey Elliott goes. I think, I don't necessarily want him to, but I think it's the best thing for him and his career, and Liverpool probably getting a good price for him. I think the same could probably be said of Endo. I don't want him to go, but I think he probably needs to. And then Kirkes with the ball in. It's a wonderful ball. Bournemouth, they've hit the bar! Kirkes created all that then. Kirkes with a fabulous ball, stood up to the back stick. He'll be so good for Liverpool next season. He drove to the byline, stands it perfectly to the back stick. It's nodded back into the 6-yard box, and Bournemouth smash it off the underside of the bar. Nearly 2-0 there. So Curtis going, Elliott going. I hope Endo doesn't, but he might do. And then into the front three, I think probably Chiesa goes, I think Nunes goes, I think Diaz goes, and I think Jota goes. So I honestly think we'll probably see maybe 8 or 9 leaving Liverpool and maybe 7 or 8 coming in. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe we bulk out the squad with players like Doak coming back. I would expect to see Ben Doak maybe come back into the team. Maybe Koumas as well. Koumas has done all right at Stoke. He might get an opportunity. It will be with the shot from the edge of the area for Fulham. And Bournemouth are on the counter-attack again. Dans as well. Dans is another one who could come back in for Liverpool maybe as a backup centre forward. It's going to be an interesting summer either way. It's going to be a very, very interesting summer. Edward Premdad, do you rate Iwobi? Yeah, I do, mate. We just said I think he's a very, very talented player. Very underrated player often. Also, how's your day been? Have you spent time with the family? Yes, I have. Yeah, I have. Thank you. Scouse House, the big kaboom. Kirk has his hours, mate. Can't see him going anywhere else. Yeah, fabulous player. Fabulous player. How did he hit the bar? I think it just came at him a bit too quick off that little knockdown at the back post. Views on Badgetic, as they call him. Bajcetic. Yeah, but mate, he's fabulous. He's a great player. I'd forgot about him, actually. The thing is, as well, with him, he's been playing at centre-back at Las Palmas. And he's been playing quite well. I think he is a midfielder. But he suits Liverpool. I think he'd be a really good signing for us. I just wonder whether or not he might fall into that kind of Marko Grujic category. Grujic was a very, very good player as well. And I don't think it just never quite... Him and Klopp just never quite saw eye to eye, and off he went. And he still carved out a decent career for himself at Porto. And you just never know with some players. Bajcetic might look at it and go, look, if you're going to start me, I'll come back. But if you're not, then I'm going. I feel a bit sorry for the likes of Tyler Morton as well. Tyler Morton, I think, is going to be a top Premier League midfielder. Who would I liken him to? Tyler Morton could well be someone who plays for a West Ham. I'll say that. I think he could play for a mid-table Premier League team. If put it this way, I think if you put Tyler Wharton alongside Adam Wharton and Morton in Palace's midfield, sounds like a cop duo, doesn't it? Wharton and Morton. If you put Adam Wharton and Tyler Morton next to each other in Palace's midfield, I think it improves them. It really does improve them. Edward, you know who I feel sorry for? Because I thought he'd be good, and that's Jordan Ibe. Well, I mean, you can't say he didn't get chances. I think sometimes I feel sorry for players, but sometimes you also have to look at it and go, well, did they bring it on themselves? You know, it's not like he didn't get chances. And he got a big move as well to Bournemouth, who are a good club, who have give platforms to young players, and he blew it. And then he got another move to Derby. Not a Premier League club, but still had opportunities at other clubs. And he got done for drink driving. He got all sorts. Now, look, you know, your personal life and all that sort of thing, you've got to have a little bit of sympathy, and players need support. But I'm still a big believer in you've got to be responsible for your own actions. It doesn't discount your actions at the end of the day. And he needed some support. But I also think that he can't now cry about it and say, well, Jurgen Klopp broke promises to me, which is what I've heard him come out and say in interviews recently. Jurgen Klopp gave him loads of opportunities and made sure that he got a good move to a good Premier League club for decent money while he was still young. So, I can't say that that's being treated unfairly in any way, shape or form. Kane, what positions do you think United sign this summer? I think you need a right back after watching that last night with Delo. I don't think Mazraoui is any... I think Mazraoui is that right-sided centre-back for you. He can play right back, but he's not a right back, is he? That's how I see it anyway. Maybe you disagree, but I think you need a right back. Definitely need a right back. I think you definitely need a keeper. If he's not going to stick with Onana and give him that vote of confidence, then obviously you need a keeper now. So keeper, right back. I think you need at least one centre-back. I know you really like Lenny Yoro, Kane, but every time I watch him, I'm concerned by him. Last night, I thought he switched off a number of times. Admittedly, he had Lindelof next to him. But, yeah, I don't think he can be relied upon as like the senior member of the United defence. You need De Ligt, you need Yoro, and Mazraoui's fine, but you probably need at least one or two others that you can rely on. And maybe that's Maguire and Martinez, but can you rely on Martinez? I think United need at least one centre-back. So I would be going goalkeeper, centre-back, right-back for sure. I think you should stick with Højlund, and you've already got Xerxes. So as much as a centre-forward is on the books, I would argue you don't need one. I think you probably need wingers more so. I think if Garnacho's going, Rashford's going, Sancho's going, Mount is not really working out. You don't want to play Xerxes or Højlund in those wide areas. You want to keep them central. I think United would be better off keeping Xerxes and Højlund through the middle and prioritising wide players. Go and get in maybe 2 wide players and a central defensive midfielder, proper holding midfielder, to go in alongside Menu, Ugarte, Casemiro. Get rid of Eriksen. Push Fernandes and Mount up front in that kind of number 10 position or whatever. Or wherever they see them two playing. And go and get 1 or 2 wingers. And then when Ahmad comes back, Ahmad's got to fight for his place. He's not immediately going into the team as the starting right back. He's got to come in, he's got to fight on his hands. That's what it should be at Manchester United. That is absolutely what it should be. And the players United should be looking at, seriously, by the way, I think are players like Semenyo. I mean, Liverpool have looked at him all summer, allegedly, so I think Semenyo's one that team should be keeping an eye on. Ben Morton's a good player. He was brilliant when he was on loan at Hull last year. I watched him and I thought to myself, there's a player in there, there really is. He was so good, so like tigerish, and he just hasn't had an opportunity since he's come back. And I don't blame him, actually, because when he has played, even the few moments that he's played for Liverpool this season, I don't know how many he's played. I think he's maybe played 10 appearances and maybe a couple of starts in there. He's always looked competent. I've never thought worried by him being in there. But I think he will go. And he needs a regular move, regular minutes somewhere else. Scouse House, I want Bajcetic back and Doak. Love how aggressive Doak is from what I've seen. Yeah, Doak's been crackers at Middlesbrough. They love him at Middlesbrough. There was a bloke who I used to work with who was a big Middlesbrough fan, and he said he's one of the best wingers he's seen at Borough in 20 years. And he included the likes of Stuart Downing in that, who obviously took Borough to a European Cup final when he was there. Was that 2006 when they got battered 4-0 off Seville? Evan Nielsen, there's a claim for a handball. It's gone behind for a corner, but it was a claim for a handball there. Nah, you're not getting handball for that. Not getting handball for that. Ben, do you expect we get rid of Doak permanently in the summer? Well, who would you rather have coming off the bench, Ben Doak or Federico Chiesa? I think I'd rather have Chiesa. And like there's a part of me that thinks, yeah, you wanna keep hold of these players, but you can't keep sending them out on loan. It's not good for them. Like 1 year out on loan, fine, to assess them and see whether or not they're the right fit for the club and give them some minutes, really test them in a good league. That's good for them. You can't keep farming them out on loan here, there and everywhere every year. They need some consistency to produce their best stuff. So, I think Doak should go. I'd like him to stay, but I think he should go. Scouse also known as one of the most unreliable keepers I've ever seen. I mean, that's maybe a bit excessive. Chance. Oh! Shot from the edge of the area there from Lewis Cook. Yeah, I like I said, I've got a degree of sympathy, let's say. A degree of sympathy for Andre Onana. Because, just as you've said then, Kane, just as you've said, when you put De Ligt and Maguire next to Lenny Yoro, he thrives. And when you put Lindelof next to him, he looks really vulnerable. He looks a little bit unsure. you've got to use that same logic, I think, with every player. And Onana has played in front of a different back five pretty much every game. I think he's had a different group of players to work with every game, and that's rough. That's difficult. That doesn't necessarily excuse him from some of the performances, but I just think that level of uncertainty is not good for a goalkeeper. And also, when you've got a manager who comes in and probably makes it clear straight away that he doesn't know if he rates you, and he's already dropped him last night, and I don't know. I don't think, like I said the same thing last night. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'll say it again. I think that there's a number of players at Manchester United who you can file under the category of, if you let them go, they'll go on and do well somewhere else. We've seen it before with a number of players. Anthony's doing it this season. We've seen it with McTominay. We've seen it with Chris Smalling in years gone by. Sancho left, went to Dortmund, looked like the player that United signed again. Obviously scored against Ipswich the other night. I know he's not been doing brilliantly at Chelsea, but there's still a player in there with Sancho. I think Dortmund know that, and Dortmund would probably take a go at him again. And there's loads of players over the years you could say the same with at Manchester United. They've looked dreadful at the club, and then they leave and they look a different player. I don't know why. I can't really explain why it is, but there's something about that club that just seems to bring out the worst in players. Maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's the environment, and it's not. It's only really since Ferguson left, maybe even since Moyes left, actually. Maybe even since Van Gaal left. I don't know. It just feels like in the last 10 years or so it's been more pronounced. And I think, Onana, Højlund, they're the players United fans seem to want to let go. And every time I speak to a United fan about it, I always say, just apply a bit of caution, because those players could leave and start to look like the players that you paid for. 80 million for Højlund. I don't think he's ever going to reach that, but I think he could be a top centre-forward somewhere else. And a reasonable centre-forward for Manchester United. He's strong, he's quick. We've seen him do finishes, really good finishes actually, earlier this season. I saw him, I think it was Bodo Glimt, he scored one. And it was quality. It was a really, really good, high-quality finish, and I didn't know he had that in him. He's definitely a diamond in the rough, isn't he? He's still only 22. He was given the United number 9 shirt at 20 years old, which was ridiculous. But the guy scored 16 goals for United in his first season in 40 games. Fulham are in here. Bournemouth have absolutely cacked it. Shot, poor from Muniz. Really poor from Muniz, and that might be why he doesn't get the chance at a Big Six club just yet. It was Hyson, I think. Was it Hyson? It was a miscommunication from Hyson and Senesi at the back. I don't know what was going on there. Oh, the pair of them, they just get in each other's way. And Rodrigo Muniz picks it up. He kind of ran himself a little bit wide there. So poor from Bournemouth. Kane, I think 9 players are safe at United. The rest are up for the boot. As many as 9. Ben, Chiesa. Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's fair enough. Stoke is underrated. Look at his stats in the top 90% with certain things. Yeah, he is. He's at top percentile with... I think what was the stat that he's in the top percentile in Europe's top 5 leagues is... successful dribbles into the penalty area. I'm sure Ben Doak was top of that list earlier this season, which is mad, isn't it? Successful dribbles into the penalty area, I think around maybe January time. Still not quite like all the way through the season, but for him to be halfway through the season the most successful dribbler into the box in Europe was some going. He was absolutely on fire around Christmas time for Middlesbrough. Edward, by the way, Adrian is an underrated keeper. I thought Adrian was all right for us. Kane, it's been hard to get a consistent back five. Yeah, Lissandro, Maguire, injury prone constantly. Same with Maino and Garnacho. Lee, Luka Modric, a part owner with Swansea. Is he really? Bloody hell. Swansea might get him back in. Him and Joe Allen in midfield. That'd be some midfield, wouldn't it? Will, who scored for Bournemouth? It was Semenyo, mate. It was Semenyo. Antoine Semenyo. Right, corner to Fulham. Part owner at Swansea. That's going to be great, that, for Swansea in terms of, raising the profile of the club. Mario Jacobo 560. What's your score prediction? Well, I thought Fulham before the game. I thought Fulham would nick it, but Bournemouth have started really well. I'm sitting on the fence. I think I'm going to go for maybe a score draw, maybe 1-1 or 2-2. I'm hoping there's going to be more goals in this one. Tommy Parker, thanks for the save. Thanks for the follow. Kepa saved. Ben Twistley, Oxley still plays for Madrid. Yeah. Will, it's like a Wrexham type of game, kind of. I think I'm becoming a bit of a Wrexham fan since I shared a hotel with the team on my birthday the other day. That sounds a lot darker than it actually should have done, didn't it? Oh, what a turn by Dango Ouattara. Oh, that was special. Incredible play from him there. Here we go. Scott, out wide. This is better from Bournemouth. Here's Semenyo. Can he get at Anthony Robinson? Oh, wonderful play by Adam Smith. And Robinson gets back. Knocks it out wide for a corner. This is really good. Lee, and what happens when he retires? I mean, he might not retire. He might do what... isn't Messi... Again, I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain that Lionel Messi is going to Inter Miami and he's playing for him. I don't know if this is still the case. Someone might be able to educate me if you can get on Google. But I'm sure that I saw something along the lines of Messi's salary at Inter Miami, at least in part, is contributing towards his ownership. And he will be a part owner of the club when he retires. So he's getting paid, but he isn't getting paid anywhere near as much as he could do because him being at the club and playing for the club for maybe a modest wage is going to earn him maybe 40% or 30% ownership of the club for the rest of his life and his family thereafter. So Inter Miami will always be in Messi's hands to a degree. I don't know, mate. You'll have to ask Luca yourself. I was going to say Luka Modric might go to Swansea. He might think, you know what, we'll go to... After I've finished at Real Madrid, I'm ready to kind of jack it in. I'll go and play for Swansea for a little bit. Go and do a year in South Wales with the Jacks. Right, here's Alex Iwobi. Ball in. Oh, Sessegnon has to score. Sessegnon has to score there. That's really, really poor. It's a lovely ball in from Alex Iwobi, the player we've all been bigging up all night. And Sessegnon at the back stick. He gets loads on it. Absolutely loads on it. And instead of knocking it back where it comes from, that's rule number one in football. Rule number one in football, when the ball's coming to you, send it back where it came from. You've got to knock it back across goal. And he heads it down at the near post and Kepa saves it easily. Poor from Ryan Sessegnon. Will Singh, up a week, it says Messi's 303k a week. it might well be that that's the case. It might well be that it's 303k a week. But, again, I don't know how true it is. I just saw a report at the time that Messi went that he's actually not getting paid 303k a week. Maybe he's only getting paid 50k a week, whatever. And the £250,000 or so that's left over, because he doesn't need the money, does he? Messi's absolutely minted already. But the £250,000 a week that should be his wages, plus the profile that he's giving into Miami in terms of his image rights and all that sort of thing, it's effectively going to mean that at the end of his contract with Inter Miami, when he's ready to retire and move on, he'll have paid the club a big chunk of money. Even though he's still getting 50k a week, he'll have paid the club a big chunk of money and he'll own a chunk of Inter Miami. That's what I saw, and I thought that actually does make an awful lot of sense. Messi has an Apple deal within his contract, which ties in with the US TV deal for the MLS. Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine, if he's got advisors who are smart, they would have not only made a deal with Inter Miami, but made a deal with the MLS, because he's growing the interest in the MLS in general, isn't he? There's players going to the MLS to play with him. He's got... would Suarez, would Busquets, would Alba be in the MLS now, if not for Lionel Messi? Probably not. I was surprised yesterday to see that Sergio Ramos, is playing in the Mexican League, I believe. He took a penalty in the Mexican League the other day. Thought that was a bit odd. There's some odd moves to the Mexican League, isn't there? Again, that doesn't seem like one where you go in to maybe make a fortune. Pep Guardiola went to the Mexican League, didn't he? He went to play for Sinaloa. Famous, of course, for the Sinaloa cartel. Will Singh, crazy to think that Ronaldo is the owner and president of a La Liga club. Oh yeah, it's is he? Isn't he president of Valladolid? Aren't Valladolid in? I thought Valladolid were in Segunda Liga. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. Oh no, they're rock bottom, aren't they? Silly. I knew he was the owner of Valladolid, but I thought they were still in Segunda Liga. I hadn't, for some reason, I always get them confused with Vallecano. Rayo Vallecano, Real Valladolid. They look and sound a little bit like the same, but yeah, I always get them confused. Caleb, what did you have for dinner? Well, I let myself down a little bit today. I'll level with you. I let myself down a little bit. I haven't eaten anything like... Well, no, I have. I let myself down a bit. I hadn't eaten anything today, and I was a bit like, oh, do you know what? I'm starving. I'm getting on the stream in a couple of hours' time, in a few hours' time. I've not eaten today. I really need to eat something, otherwise I'm going to feel knackered during the stream, and I'm not gonna produce my best stuff. We're not going to be talking. We're going to be having conversations. I'm just going to be like dropping in the chat. So I'm going to have to get some sort of energy in me, and we didn't have anything in. There was nothing really in the house, and yeah, we've not been shopping yet. We need to go shopping, and I just thought, go on, I'll jump on a Deliveroo, get something sent to the house. It was a guilty pleasure. Shouldn't have done it, but I did. And I didn't want to get a Mackey's or out like that, but I ended up going with, which I'm really disappointed with, but I just thought I wanted some beef. I wanted some like spicy meat, and there was nowhere good open near us because it was like 4:00. So I ended up having GDK, German doner kebab. And I've got to say, it was the worst thing I've eaten in a very, very long time. I literally had a few chips, a few mouthfuls. It was the most greasy thing ever, and I've thrown it away. So, I've still not eaten all that much. I just feel pig sick now. I feel like I've let myself down a little bit. But that's all I've eaten today. Kane, if an offer for Lisha comes in, I'm taking it. Yeah, I think you got to, but it's whether or not you're going to get any decent money for him. You might be better off keeping him, to be honest. Ball into the box from Fulham, chance. Cleared away by Bournemouth. Scouse says I'm demolishing a chippy, mate. Don't feel bad. Or, mate, I would love a chippy. I'd absolutely love. I don't even want, like, anything bad necessarily from a chip. Just chips. Just chips. Just some, like, carbs. That's what I'm craving. I'm on a health kick. If you've only just followed me, I think you've only just followed, haven't you, Scouse? I'm on a bit of a health kick. I'm trying to lose some weight. I've lost 3 stone since about Christmas time or just before. I've lost about 3 stone. I'm trying to shift the weight. So going to German doner kebab is probably not the best thing I could have done. But I'm limiting carbs. I'm basically on like a keto diet. Most of it just meat, basically. Just meat and a little bit of, you know, a little bit of veg, maybe some fruit here and there, but not too much. As much water as I can possibly have. I'm trying to limit the fizzy drinks and stuff, but I'll allow myself maybe a glass with ice. Lots and lots of ice. It's very heavily watered down. Just to keep me cool on a stream, because it's absolutely roasting in here. With the camera, the lights, the projector, the laptop. This laptop sounds like a spaceship taking off. I'm surprised you can't hear it, but the laptop sounds like a spaceship taking off. It's massive. It's one of them Alienware laptops. And it needs a cooling pad underneath it because it kicks out more heat than the sun. But yeah, I could do with a chippy. I really shouldn't, but I'd love a chippy. Caleb, haha, first, just get a normal kebab next time. You can't be eating kebabs in midweek. I've not had a kebab. Like, kebabs are surely reserved for when you're bladdered round town after a night out, and that's it. There's no other acceptable time to eat a kebab. You can't be having a kebab on a Monday afternoon. Like, I ordered it and just immediately felt total shame. I was like, that wasn't sensible. That was not sensible. Will Wrexham have a couple of ex-Premier League players in the squad? They do. Ball in. Oh, Bournemouth very nearly. Yeah, Will, I was going to say, I've told this story many times, and people in the chat are probably going to be sick of it, but I'll say it again. It was my birthday on Friday, and the wife took me to the hotel that we got married in, basically. The wife took me to the hotel that we got married in. It was kind of like a nice little nostalgic trip. We've not been back there since we got married there. And she booked us the hotel. And when we got there, when I woke up the next morning, we went down for breakfast, and the Wrexham players, the full Wrexham squad, were in the lobby of the hotel. I had no idea. But walked in, and Stephen Fletcher was there, sat having breakfast with James McLean and Jay Rodriguez. And I was going to go over and, like, you know, get a picture and say, support Premier League dad, guys. Hi guys. But I didn't. I just thought, you know what, they're probably doing game planning before the game. You know, they had a big game against Wigan that they ended up drawing 0-0. Oh, good save. Alex Scott getting into the box. Hit it low. Good save by Bernd Leno. Will, I don't remember Stephen Fletcher. Stephen Fletcher, he played for Burnley. He played for Sunderland. He played for... Who else did Stephen Fletcher play for? I only remember him playing for Burnley and Sunderland. He was a decent player, though. He played for Scotland for a very long time. I think he's about 38. He hasn't changed. Still got like a top knot. Little top knot. Archie, come on, Fulham. Oh, and Wolves. Yes, sorry, you're right. Thanks, Brandon and Ben. Yeah, I forgot he'd play for Wolves. But he played for a few. I knew he played for a few Premier League teams. And, hotel football wins. Right, there you go. We're on half time. Half time. I'm muted for you. Am I? Don't say that. Well, I'm not muted for anyone else. I hope I'm not muted for you. I'm sorry. Will, what's happened with Mullen? Something's happened with him. Yeah, I wonder if he got maybe too big for his boots. I don't know. Yeah, he's not playing all that much. Archie T, he's bamming you up. Brandon, think my stream stopped. I don't know why. That's a few people have said that. I'm hoping it's nothing to do with me, but I would guess so. Betfred Super League this Friday, Wigan against St Helens. I mean, I'm not a massive rugby fan, but Wigan are going to absolutely smash us there. Archie T, thank you for following. I appreciate it, mate. I'll see you after the game, after the half-time break. Will, he's not been starting the last couple of games, to be fair. I've not really kept up with it. I only really checked on Wrexham's score at the weekend, obviously, because I saw him in the hotel. And, yeah, they had a blank against Wigan. And it was pretty poor, actually, because they needed to win to keep pace with Wycombe. They've got an outside chance of getting automatic promotion to the Championship, and they're not going to get it. They've got to win this weekend. They've got to win this weekend. Wycombe have got a tough away game against Bolton, who are also fighting for playoffs. So Wycombe are going to have to. They're going to have a job on their hands. Wrexham really need to win. Will, that Elliot Lee who plays for them is quite good. Yeah, I was going to say I haven't watched him all that much. The only thing I know about Wrexham is that they keep costing me, mate. Every time mate puts him on a bet, puts him on an accumulator, every single time he puts him on, Wrexham is the one that lets him down. Like, and we just laugh about it now. He puts him. He's tempted every time. Oh yeah, Wrexham. That good odds for them this weekend. I'll do Wrexham. They're always good for both teams to score. Wrexham win. And he puts him on, and he always kills his bet. Brandon, nah, I weren't. I promise. Will, they're playing on Friday. Oh yeah, there's a full Good Friday fixture list actually this week. So, I'm saying that I'm not going to be live on Friday. It might actually be worth doing one on Friday if anyone fancies getting amongst it. I might actually put one on Friday. Let's see who's playing on Friday. Friday's games, Championship. Oh, Bristol City against Sunderland will be a good game. I mean, Bristol City need to win that one. It's Bristol City in 5th, Sunderland in 4th. Sunderland are already assured of the playoffs. It's a big game, that, for Bristol. Coventry against West Brom might be better, because it's 6th against 7th. Yeah, maybe Coventry against West Brom's the game to watch. Coventry are still 0-0 with Hull, by the way. Wrexham are at home to Bristol Rovers. Yeah, I was going to say, I think Wrexham need to win that one. They really, really need to win that one. Tuesday's Euro Millions jackpot, 34 million quid. Oh, go on then, I'll give it a whirl. I'll see. If I won that, I'd still, do you know what? I'd still do Premier League, Dan, if I won that. It'd just look a little bit better and sound a little bit better. I'd get rid of this mic. And I'd get a laptop that doesn't sound like it's taking off. And I'd get lights that aren't giving me a tan. And I'd get some better shirts behind me as well. I think the shirts behind me are alright, but I'd get some better shirts behind me. Maybe give these ones away. I am planning on giving these ones away. I've got loads here on the wall next to me. So yeah, we're going to do giveaways and stuff soon. If people do follow, if people do want to fancy winning a retro shirt, if you like that sort of thing, I've got absolutely hundreds of them that have accumulated over the years, much like the ones behind me. So yeah, if that's your thing and you fancy winning one, then stick around. Right, let me knock the scoreboard back. 45th minute. Ben, I seem to have sides each season that do my bets. This season's letdowns are Derby and Bolton for me. Derby played a League One side in a cup and couldn't win. Drew 0-0 and let me down for £800. Oh, shocking. Will, my dad's friend's son, has a big part behind the scenes at Wrexham, to be fair. Your dad's friend's son? It's not Rob McElhaney, is it? Your dad's friend's son is Deadpool. Ben, love the Kia Atleti shirt. Reminds me of Kuhn. I don't know if Aguero wore that. Was Aguero in that one? They had Kia for a while, didn't they? I don't know if that would have been him or... It wasn't Diego Costa. No, it would have been. It was Aguero, wasn't it? Or would it have been Falcao? Atletico just always... They're great with strikers, aren't they? They had Torres, then Aguero, then Falcao, then Diego Costa. They just consistently got great strikers. He's called Humphrey Kerr. Blimey. Humphrey. That's a great name, isn't it? Humphrey Kerr. British actor and comedian. He's a member of the sketch comedy troupe, the Penny Dreadfuls. Oh, okay. Don't know him, but fair play. Oh, he's a Liverpool fan. He's a Liverpool fan. And he basically introduced Rob McElhaney, didn't he, to Wrexham and football and all that sort of thing. Yeah, he's an executive. He's an executive at Wrexham. Will, I'm sure I've seen a podcast with him in lately. Interesting. Will mixing in those circles, eh? Good lad. See if you can get him to mention Premier League dad to him. see if you can get us a sponsorship at Wrexham. You can have whatever shirt you want behind me, mate. You can have whatever shirt you want, but get Premier League dad on the sponsorship at Wrexham. That'd be amazing. We can get Deadpool here. We'll get Deadpool in the studio. Me and Ryan Reynolds watching a game. We'll do a live stream. That'd be good fun. Ball into the box. That one was poor. Really poor. From Ryan Sessegnon. Just watching it back, the highlights from the first half. Can you imagine? I know. It doesn't have to do a shout out. Definitely, that's worth a go, innit? That's worth it. I always think of people, like, there's loads of connections I've got to, same as you've got to, like, oh yeah, no one that famous, but like, people I've worked with, they've had relatives who were like half known, I guess, in film and TV circles. There's a famous-ish female comedian who is the granddaughter of someone I used to work with quite closely, and she's quite popular. Not that we're just name dropping now, we're just getting into name dropping, so I'm not gonna do that, but like, I always think about stuff like that and think, oh yeah, do you know what, if I was able to maybe just network a little bit, might be able to raise profile and stuff. But what a horrible place to visit, Wrexham, for the Americans, though. I think I've passed through Wrexham. Isn't it just a big industrial estate? My mate's been there recently for like client meetings and stuff. I worked in sales with him for a very long time, and he went to Wrexham quite a few times for big meetings recently with clients, and that's the way he described it, as kind of a big industrial estate. There's just loads of industrial estates there. But I think I've only ever passed through Wrexham. I don't think I've ever actually been and kind of enjoyed it. I have been to the racecourse ground though. Liverpool played Wrexham, I think, pretty much every pre-season for a number of years. We always used to play Wrexham, and we always used to play Crewe at Gresty Road. So I've been to Crewe, I've been to Wrexham, and we played Aberdeen quite a bit as well. I remember us playing Aberdeen in 2003-04, and Harry Kewell made his debut. Or no, he didn't. It was the year before that. Yeah. I remember that game though. Mainly because a football fan sent a firework across the pitch. I can't remember if it came from... I think it came from the Aberdeen stand across into the Liverpool fans. A firework went over the top of the pitch. Will, oh really, I need to get a box at Wrexham now. You should, mate. You should use your family connections. Use your family connections and see if you can pull some strings. Why not? Come on. How much of a break do they want? So, if things stay as they are, let's just take a quick look at the Premier League table. If things stay as they are, we will have Bournemouth will leapfrog Fulham, actually, on goal difference. And both teams will remain 6 points behind Villa, 6 points behind Chelsea, 7 points behind City. That might be insurmountable for a Champions League spot. That might be insurmountable now. I think the only way this was ever going to work was if Fulham won tonight. And they might still do. But I think if Bournemouth win, then the only chance they've got is maybe catching Villa and Chelsea. And they'd have to go on a hell of a run between now and the end of the season. They'd have to beat United here. They'd have to probably beat Villa here. They'd have to beat Leicester here. And maybe get something at the Etihad as well. And get something at Arsenal. So Bournemouth have got a tough run of it. Will, can't I just ring Wrexham and ask to speak to Ryan Reynolds? I mean, you can. You're probably not going to get very far. You'd probably be better off phoning and asking for your mate Humphrey. Saying, "Oh, Humphrey, how the devil are you, sir? How the devil are you, Humphrey? It's Will, don't you know?" and just say, "Look, let's go out. Let's go out and have some feta and hummus dip and talk these things through." I don't know why I imagine him to be much posher than he actually is. But yeah, you should pick up the phone and have a chat to him. He might hook you up. You never know. Can't hurt. He might just get you on his podcast. Not saying he's going to make you the shirt sponsor, but why not? Will Sings, Wrexham Championship team, you know. The Will Sings stand. Give you stand sponsorship for a season. If you don't ask, you don't get. Championship, Hull. Oh, Hull, they've cleared it off the line. Coventry. Oh, my goodness me. Oh. If you, honestly, that's the scrap to end all scraps. It was going in. It's just been cleared off the line 4 times by Coventry there. Oh, my goodness me. Very nearly a goal for Hull. Will, God, you stereotype me well. Liam Imran Khan, Lion Imran Khan, sorry. Hello, how we doing, people? I'm doing good, mate. How are you? Everyone else in the chat seems to be doing well. We're looking forward to the second half here. We've had an interesting first half. Big start. I mean, Semenyo scoring within 60 seconds. Most people in the chat seem to be expecting Fulham to win this one, or certainly to dominate and maybe get a draw at the very least. Score draw. And maybe that still will be how it pans out. I still fancy Fulham to get something here. As I say, they are the 5th best in the league at coming from behind, at taking points from losing positions. So I think at half time, based on what I've seen, Fulham have missed some chances. I expect that Fulham will get a point. Marcos Senesi is coming off for Zabani. That's probably due to the error that we saw in the first half that very nearly gave Fulham an equaliser. Lion enjoyed Virgil van Dijk's performance over the weekend. Not really, no. His performance wasn't fantastic. I actually thought Van Dijk was okay. I mean, he gets the winner at the end, but I thought Van Dijk was responsible for the West Ham equaliser. Manny Huffley, my mum's friend's daughter, is dating Luke Shaw. Blimey. My a lad who I went to school with is I don't know if he still is, but he certainly was dating I don't know actually. I probably can't say that. I'm not gonna say it just in case it's. But basically, a lad who I went to school with was going out with a Premier League footballer's brother. That's all I'm gonna say. But I don't know. I can't say for absolute certain if they were or they weren't because it wasn't like a Facebook official thing. But yeah, whatever. Tell her don't injure him. Thing is, Luke Shaw isn't really going to start regularly for Manchester United anymore. I think it's probably... Does his contract run out this season, Luke Shaw? This summer? Feels like he's going to be one that Manchester United try to move on. He's got to be on quite big wages, I would imagine. So... And they've got Dorgu there now. They can probably play Dalot or Mazraoui there if they're in a jam. Luke Shaw's not really going to play all that much. Here's Fulham on the counter-attack. Iwobi's got Anthony Robinson with him. Slides Robinson in. Ball across the box. Cleared away by Bournemouth. And Semenyo brings it away. Oh, runs it out. Unlucky. Manny, Dorgu replaces. Yeah, I think Dorgu will start the vast majority of games now for Manchester United, you'd have to say. But, oh, that's poor from Anthony Robinson. Anthony Robinson's not had a good game tonight. Fulham fans will low-key be happy with that one because I'm sure there was clubs who were thinking about a move for Anthony Robinson this summer. Very good left-back, Anthony Robinson, but it's not been his night tonight. Probably responsible for the Fulham goal. For the Bournemouth goal, apologies. And yeah, he's ran a few out of play and just looked a little bit erratic at times. There's quite a few left backs. Just thinking about Shaw. Luke Shaw may be moving on from Manchester United. Ben Chilwell probably isn't going to be getting back into the Chelsea side, I would have thought. And it doesn't really seem like Palace are all that keen on him. Although Palace are going to apparently lose Tyrick Mitchell this summer, aren't they? Tyrick Mitchell available on a free this summer. His contract expiring, so maybe Palace need 2 new left backs, so maybe they do keep Chilwell as a backup. But I was going to say, it just feels like there's a lot of left backs who probably not all that long ago, 18 months ago, were considered to be England's starting left backs, and all of a sudden they might both be without a club. And they're not that old either, are they? Luke Shaw and Chilwell, they're not like massively well into their 30s. They're still relatively young players. They just have had a lot of injury problems. I think Evan Ilson's down here for Fulham. Sorry, for Bournemouth. Gone down holding his shoulder. Can someone... I don't know if people are watching, what people are watching on. I'm live on pretty much every streaming platform at the moment. I'd really appreciate it if you're on TikTok, if you're on Twitch, if you're on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or wherever, if you could go to YouTube for me. If you get a minute, if you could go to YouTube, go and search Premier League Dad. If you can subscribe while you're there, that'd be very helpful, but that's not what I need you to do. I'd love it if you did subscribe, but you don't have to subscribe. What I'd love, just while we've got a break in play, is the feedback, a little bit of feedback on... I've had a change in thumbnails. So if you go to Premier League Dad and you click live, you'll see that the thumbnail has changed for tonight's game from last night's game. But pretty much the same thumbnail for every live going back months. And I thought I'd try something a little bit different tonight. So if anyone's got any feedback on that, if anyone has any thoughts, if anyone thinks it's rubbish and I should stop doing that immediately, then tell me. If anyone thinks it's good and they like it and it was better than that way or whatever, let me know. Either way, I appreciate good and bad feedback. You don't have to say it in the chat if you don't want to. You can whack it in a message to me, or you can... Whatever works for you. But I would appreciate any and all feedback. Fulham just kind of losing possession in the middle of midfield again for the second or third time in a row. They keep winning it back and losing it. Bournemouth now on the counter-attack. Semenyo. This is better from Bournemouth. I feel like they've needed to play like this for a while. Just... It feels like, I mean, maybe this is one of the reasons why I've liked Bournemouth, right? So I admit I'm probably a bit of a hypocrite in saying this. But Bournemouth have always been... they go a goal in front and they just keep going for the kill. There doesn't seem to be any chill with Andoni Iraola's side. He'll get a goal in front... and his team just keep going for it. They'll get the ball, they'll go for a second. They'll always go for a second. And it feels like tonight they're managing the game a bit better. They've gone a goal in front. They've got to the edge of the Fulham box. And rather than just like pouring it in, as they normally would, put it in, try and see, create a chance, put a ball into the box, see what happens. They've done that in games gone by. Lost possession, and then the other team has it, goes up the other pitch, and they lose. They lose the point. They lose a point. They lose the game. Whatever. Tonight, I've twice now, just in the second half, I've just seen them get to the edge of the area. There was nothing on, and rather than put it in the box, they put the foot on the ball, stopped, passed it back, kept hold of the ball, recycled it. Didn't just, not just wasteful. Do you know what I mean? Just keeping hold of the ball, giving it back, keeping hold of it, foot on it, calm it down. See what happens. There's no mad rush. And they needed to do a little bit more of that. Game management. That's probably what's cost Bournemouth, I think, a European spot this season. If indeed it does end up being the case, which I think it will. Check YouTube chat. One sec, mate, I will. I'll have a quick look. Like the new logo would make the Prem Dad logo a bit smaller. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. Thank you very much. Ben, my message is coming through, Key. What on on TikTok or on... I've not had any messages from anyone since Dorgu replaces from Manny. And then Edward saying check YouTube chat. That's the only thing I've had on TikTok. I've had nothing else on TikTok. Yeah, nothing else. I don't know why messages aren't coming through. I couldn't tell you. Does seem to be an issue that. I don't know why. Keep going. Try him again. Wee Muzzer, you think Fulham could come back? I hope so, mate. I really hope so. I've got Fulham or draw on a bet, so I'd love it if Fulham did come back. I think Bournemouth have started the second. They started the first half really well. Obviously, they went 1-0 up within 60 seconds, and then after that, I thought Fulham actually played quite well and had a number of chances they probably should have done a bit better with. But since the second half, Bournemouth have come out the better team. And yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. This is a big game for Fulham. It's a very big game for Fulham. Raul Jimenez is coming on. I'm hoping he comes on maybe for Berger or Lukic. Adama Traore's coming on as well, so it's going to be a couple of changes. Sessegnon coming off, that makes sense. His last action of the game there. Sessegnon's coming off for Adama Traore. Looks like Tom Kearney's coming on as well. That'll be an odd change. I'm not sure, again, who for. Adama Traore for Sessegnon. Jimenez. I hope he goes 2 up top. Berger's coming off. That makes sense. And Muniz. It is Muniz. Muniz for Jimenez. Berger for Kearney. Sessegnon for Traore. Berger for Kearney. Oh, Sessegnon's going back on the pitch. What's going on? They don't know what's going on here. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, the referee. This is a disaster. The referee's coming over to the touchline here. There's been some sort of an error. A clerical and admin error. And Sander Berger's gone over to the touchline. He needed to make a change. He now can't make that change. Sessegnon has walked off the pitch. And for some reason, Marco Silva's sending him back on. He's furious here, Marco Silva. Fulham are playing with 10 men at this moment in time, aren't they? Or are they going to have to wait for another break in play to do the sub again? No, Adama Traore is... Oh, Berger has gone off now. Berger has gone off. And now they are down to 10 men, unless Tom Kearney comes on. No, Tom Kearney is on. There you go. So Kearney has now finally come on. We have finally got 3 substitutions from Fulham. Kearney for Berger, Adama Traore for Sessegnon, and Muniz off for Raul Jimenez. That was a bizarre interaction there between the linesman, the 4th official, and the referee. None of them seem to know what was going on there. I mean, they still operate on bits of paper. It's mad given how technical the Premier League is with VAR and all that sort of stuff. They do still operate on bits of paper. You know, the manager or the assistant manager will fill out this player, this number, for this player, this number, and hand it to the 4th official, and the 4th official then puts that into his board and holds it up above his head. That's still how it works. You would have thought there might be a bit more of a technical thing, where maybe like a bowling alley, where you just kind of the assistant manager types it in and it comes up. But there you go. That's how it's worked. And I don't know, something mad happened there. Marco Silva was raging on the touchline. Wee Muzzer, I have them to score and win. You might get your wish. I think Jimenez coming on will give Fulham a little bit of something different. Muniz hasn't done all that well tonight. And Adama Traore is always a danger. The problem is, I never really like Adama Traore playing in games where Fulham are chasing the game. He never seems to do well when he's not got a lot of space in behind, and that's exactly the position he's in now. You can see that Kirkes, who's a great left back by the way, has immediately dropped his starting position. He was very high in the first half, Kirkes. He was pushing up on Ryan Sessegnon because I think he wanted to keep Ryan Sessegnon back, so he stayed high. Now, look at where Kirkes is. Look at where Kirkes is right now. Adama Traore has got the ball. Kirkes is right back deep level with his centre-backs. He is not moving forward. Absolutely no way. He's staying where he is. Deep full-backs. They've gone from playing almost wing-backs and split centre-halves to playing like full-backs again. Bournemouth are now... This is better from Bournemouth. Better game management. It may not be what we want to see. You know, we'd like to see a bit more of a cavalier attitude. Anthony Robinson's been booked there. Complete a bad night for him. He's just hauled down. Was it Adam Smith at right back? Tom Kearney, an absolute stalwart of Fulham. Yeah, he's been about for a while, hasn't he, Kearney? Always pops up with a goal as well. Hopefully he does tonight. Wee Muzza, 82p cash out. Yeah, let it run. Let it ride. Let it ride, Muzza. Ben Traore is absolutely woeful. He's a sprinter, that's it. Should train for the Olympics and end product awful. He's like a... Maybe not as good, but you know what I mean? He's like a faster, stronger Luis Diaz, but not as good at dribbling, and Luis Diaz has a fractionally better end product. But he's in the same bracket as Luis Diaz. Can take a player on, pace for days, can knock it past them and run. Very impressive in that sense. Great when you need him on the counter attack, he's great. If he gets 1v1, he ain't finishing. And you can't often rely on him to put a good cross in either. 10 years at Fulham, really. Traore is a championship level player. Well, I don't know. He's another one who's available for free this summer, by the way. He's 29 now, so he's still. I don't think he's not. His pace hasn't regressed at all yet. He's nearly always fit. I think you might be surprised actually that I think he probably will leave. Look at his away here now. Poor ball, didn't really get it to him. But I think he'll leave Fulham because it's quite obvious that he's not that level and he's not getting regular minutes. But I think there's a number of Premier League clubs who would be interested in an Adama Traore, and I think Everton's probably one, I think Everton is probably a club. He's free. He's on avail. He's a free transfer this summer. And clubs like Everton, who need pace out wide, desperate for pace, haven't got a lot of money. He screams Everton in. Absolutely screams Everton transfer Adama Traore. They've had Jack Harrison out there for the last 2 years on loan from Leeds. He finished his first year on loan at Everton from Leeds, and they said, "Oh, well, we can't afford him. We can't afford to buy him. And even if we could afford to buy him, we probably wouldn't buy him." And Leeds went, "All right, well, just have him on loan again. We don't want him back here. Just have him on loan again." Good ball in from Alex Iwobi, cleared away by Bournemouth. This is better. Edward, so glad Eddie Howe hasn't died. He was so close to, I think. Really? I thought it's just pneumonia, isn't it? I know that's not, like... I know it's not mild, but it's also not necessarily life-threatening for him. I think he's got good enough care. He's going to miss the next couple of games, but I think he's okay. Ben, he's quick and likes baby oil, that's it, but he gives nothing other than being fast and muscular. Sometimes that's all you need. Hey, listen, have a look how many assists he's got. I'll tell you now, in fact, while we're here, right? Dama Traore. I don't think he scored that many goals, but I did see. There you go. He's got 5 assists this season. Right? He's got 5 assists and 2 goals, which means that he's produced more than the likes of Lucas Paqueta, Steffi Mavididi, who else? Callum Hudson-Odoi. Adama Traore's been as good as Hudson-Odoi this year. Does that ring true to anyone? He's also got as many goal contributions this season as Illiman and Dye. So, we say that Everton fans wouldn't be best pleased with him, but he's got as many goal contributions as maybe the best player, the player who the fans absolutely adore, Illiman and Dye. I think Adama Traore would go to Everton. Edward, they bought him. What you on about? They didn't buy him. He's still on loan at Everton. They haven't bought him. He's still on loan. I'm almost certain he is. Don't question me, Edward. Don't question me. I'm sure he isn't. Jack Harrison. Here we go. Tell me I'm right. There you go. He plays for Premier League club Everton on loan from Leeds United. I knew he was. Izzy Wolby. Oh, good save by Kepa. Yeah, loan option to buy. I mean, that means nothing, does it? Loan option to buy. Everyone's always got the option to buy. It's the most nonsensical thing ever. Ball into the box from Fulham. Cleared away. Okay, sorry. I feel bad now. I was only winding you up, mate. I can't imagine Everton fans would be happy with the sign. Listen, Everton fans are never happy. It doesn't matter who they sign. They're always going to be whinging about something. But the fact is, they've got a big new stadium that's going to cost them bird dough. They haven't got any money. They've got no money. They're going to have to, and they're in debt. They've got to pay some debt back. And the only chance they've got really of having any money to spend is if they sell Jared Branthwaite. Jimenez, that's poor. So yeah, I don't think they're going to sell Jared Branthwaite. I think they're going to be shopping in the freebies market, and Adama Traore is exactly the sort of player I think they'll be looking at. Facts things was about the fans, not you. Ben, where does Calvert-Lewin go in the summer? I think he goes abroad. He has to. I can't see him... Look, if you're a centre-forward and you aren't getting starts at Everton, who are maybe the worst attacking club in the league... Oh, that was a bad tackle by Tom Kearney. That might be a yellow card, and it is. It's a rough tackle. Surely a shit La Liga side will take him. Maybe go Las Palmas, ended up playing up top with McBurney. That's what I mean. You've got players like McBurney still playing over there, Andy Carroll's playing in the lower league French thingy. I can see things like that for Calvert-Lewin, him going playing for someone like, I don't know, Cagliari or Union Berlin, or probably better in Spain. Yeah, probably someone like Las Palmas or someone like that. But he just isn't gonna start at another English club. It's just not gonna happen. I can't see him starting for anyone. Unless maybe he fancies a move back to Sheffield United, where he originally came through. Everton signed him from Sheffield United. If Sheffield United came via the playoffs, which I really hope they don't, because I hate Sheffield United. If they came up, then they might take a gamble on him. But that's where his career is now. That is just where his career is now. It wasn't that long ago that Arsenal, United, Newcastle, they were all up for a slice of Calvert-Lewin. And it just isn't going to happen for him, I don't think. The fact Traore doesn't lift any weights, all that, being that big and muscular is crazy. Just genetics, just an absolute monster, isn't he? Oh, unlucky. Lukic with the shot. God, they could have cashed in years ago. I think didn't they get an offer from, I can't remember whether it was Arsenal. I think it was Arsenal, wasn't it? Arsenal offered... In about 2019, they offered him like 50 million quid for him. Just after he had that big season for Ancelotti, and they said absolutely no chance. We want like 100 million for him, or he isn't going. And then he's kicked a ball in about 4 games since. It's just been downhill ever since then for him. Something says he'll go America. He's still too young. He's only 28, I think. He's 28, Calvert-Lewin. He's still too young to go America. And I can't see him going to... If he goes to Saudi, then it's almost like he's admitting that his career's done. He hasn't got anything to offer anymore. He just wants the cash. Which I don't begrudge him, by the way. To each their own, if that's what you want to do. If you're finished as a player and you haven't really got any confidence in yourself at the top level. But this is a guy who was playing for England not that long ago. He was in the England squad not that long ago. And at 28, you would think, if he's fit, he can be a reasonable Premier League striker. This is a guy who has played in over 250 Premier League games for Everton. He's no mug. 250 games in the Premier League. You have to be a decent player. Stadium's going to add £200 million of debt, man. They're going to be riddled. Tuna rumoured, can't stay fit. I could see him going to Newcastle. They were a club who were linked to him, but again, he'd only be going and being a backup. He'd just be a backup. They've got Callum Wilson there now. They need someone to keep the medics busy. Callum Wilson might not be at the club next year, so Calvert-Lewin could be the medics' new favourite. Good play by Iwobi. Anthony Robinson with the ball in, unlucky. Oh, just offside. Yeah, the stadium's going to add £200 million of debt. The owners wrote off a little bit of debt, but most of that was, I think, restructuring, wasn't it? They had to restructure the loans. So they now... It's just, I think it was consolidation, wasn't it? They ended up buying out the company that Everton owed a big chunk of money to, and they were going bust or something. So they had to end up financing the loan to owe someone else, and it's all that whole restructuring thing on better terms. So they still owe the money, and it's, they're going to have to run a little bit more efficiently over the next 10 years or so. And that's going to mean, it's always the same when clubs move into a new stadium. They don't spend a lot of money. Look at Spurs. Do you remember when Spurs moved into the new stadium? And for years, obviously they went to the new stadium and they got into the Champions League final. And I remember Jamie Carragher was on Sky talking about Spurs being... He had a big argument, didn't he, with Gary Neville live on Sky on, I think it was Monday Night Football, where he was talking about, I can't believe Spurs aren't spending any money, Pochettino's working miracles, blah, 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 and Gary Neville was kind of supporting Daniel Levy, saying he was one of the best operators in football and all this sort of thing. It's exactly the same what happened with Spurs. The same kind of thing happened with Arsenal as well. Arsenal didn't spend an awful lot of money when they moved to the new stadium. You'd have to imagine Everton were in a shed load of debt before they got the new stadium. They're going to be exactly the same. It might even be for longer. So any notion that Everton are going to be spending a fortune this summer, unless they sell a couple of players, just ain't going to happen. So they're going to have to be operating on freeze and all that sort of thing. And I would imagine they'll start to get on David Moyes' back this time next season, maybe sooner, maybe around Christmas time. They love David Moyes at the minute. He's made going the game enjoyable again. But Everton, they don't have much patience. They don't have much patience, these Evertonians. I've seen it before. They'll start getting on Moyes' back. He's not playing attacking football. I can't believe we didn't have a go at him. They get these delusions of grandeur that they're better than they actually are. And even though it wasn't that long ago they were fighting relegation under Dyche, they always thought they were better than that. And that, they think this is the real Everton, and the last 3-4 years is not. So it's almost certain that what's going to happen is another 6 or 7 months of David Moyes. They'll start getting delusions of grandeur that they should be operating at a higher level. Now they've got this stadium, they should be spending money, they should be doing this, blah, blah, blah. All the grumbles will start, and they'll still be in the lower to bottom half again. And they'll be after a shiny, bright new manager. And Moyes will end up leaving for someone like, I don't know, some new... Oh, here we go, chance. Oh, unlucky. Fulham at the edge of the area there, Kearney. Thank you for the GIFTS, Lion Imran Khan. I appreciate it. FM No Casuals, even on 100k a week, he'd still be earning less than Matt Target. Blimey. Matt Target's done alright, hasn't he? Edward, be honest, do you ever see us moving from Anfield? No. I hope not. I hope not. Not in my lifetime, anyway. I'll be honest, I think I hate the idea that stadiums are getting tore down left, right and centre. If I had my way, Highbury would still exist. White Hart Lane would still exist. Goodison, Everton wouldn't be moving from it. The Boleyn Ground at West Ham, that would still be there, or the Bowling Ground, however you want to pronounce it. I just don't think that we should be getting rid of these stadiums. I think it's massively important. They're basically part of English football's heritage, and England's heritage as our entire culture has almost revolved around football, probably for 100 years or so. It's been a big part of English heritage. You don't want to see these. They're like grade 1, grade 2 listed buildings. You don't want to get rid of them. Renovate them by all means. Modernise them. Build on the land around them. Exactly what Liverpool did. I know it's kind of, but the ground is sacred. The area around it is sacred. You wanna kind of incorporate all that and be respectful of all that while modernising it gradually as well. FM No Casuals, part of my affinity to West Ham died when we moved grounds. Yeah, it's sad, mate. I don't like it. I don't like it. I wish Roker Park was still there. There's loads of stadiums. It will actually quite upset me when if Old Trafford gets torn down. Because that'll never, I promise you, United fans will regret that. Filbert Street, yeah. Filbert Street was a good stadium. The Dell. I remember Southampton moving to St Mary's. Lion Imran Khan, what score is it? It's 1-0 to Bournemouth. Sorry, I've just realised the clock's... It's not stopped, it's fine. Highfield Road, Coventry, yeah. I used to like Coventry in the Premier League. Again, that's another soulless ball. Coventry have just scored. Matt Grimes. Grimes has just scored for Coventry to put them 1-0 up. That's a big result at both ends of the championship. Lion, same thing. Imran Khan, Eric Cantona said, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think anyone really wants to see United leave Old Trafford. Not even most United fans. I think in an ideal world they'd want Old Trafford renovated and doing up into a 100,000 seater stadium. I mean, when you look at the plans, it just looks like Dubai, doesn't it? It looks like do you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna build this like massive mega complex that's like the Trafford Centre, and it's gonna have hotels and restaurants. And is that really what we want a football stadium to be? Like a corporate shopping mall? To me, that's like yes, it makes sense from a financial perspective, but I'm telling you, the atmosphere there will be horrific. It will be so like plastic, and so they'll have like singing sections and all that sort of thing. It baffles me the way that football's going when that is being produced as like this is what we're going to knock Old Trafford down and we're going to turn it into this, and people think it's a good idea. There should be outrage. There should be people on the streets. I mean, there should be people on the streets about far more things than just that in our society, but just when it comes to football, oh, Bournemouth are in here, there might be a penalty. Leno came out and cleaned him out. It's a foul to Fulham. I mean, Evan Nilsson's gone down there. Leno Leno came out. He looks like he got quite a bit of the ball. I think he might be okay here, but Evan Ilson got absolutely smashed in the process. He's through on goal, Evan Ilson. Yeah, Bernd Leno gets it. Ben, Springfield Park, Wigan, up the ticks. Come on, up the ticks. Coventry and Cherries, please hold on. Who else have I had tonight to win? I had some other games on tonight. Rathen Club, yeah. Oh, Hull 1, Coventry 1. Kamara's just scored, mate, just as you said that. Oh, there you go. There's a VAR check on this. There's a check for a penalty. I don't think they're going to get it. That's not a penalty. That's not a penalty. Oh, actually. Oh, that might be a penalty. That might be a penalty. No, he's not giving it. Goodness me. Thank God for that. Come on, Fulham. I've got Fulham or draw on. Get on bet to you. Come on. Ben, the mock-ups of that new United Stadium look so shit. I don't think it even that doesn't even qualify for it. Like that doesn't even quite do it justice to say it looks shit. It's laughable. Absolutely laughable. We're moving away from football stadiums now, and we're moving into, concerts, concert hall arenas, like making stadiums that are fit for multi-purpose and all that sort of thing. Which, fine, whatever. Make it so that you can have things going on in it all year round. I guess that makes sense. You've got to do a bit of that. Ball in, chance for Fulham at the back post. It's gone for a corner. It looked like a circus, a tourist destination over a football ground. That's it. That's basically what it's become, though, hasn't it, mate? That is basically what it's become. Football grounds are tourist attractions now. And like, I just feel like the way that it's handled by clubs is often not the best way either. Like, you've got to have a bit of that. You want to welcome tourists. You want to welcome them to the club. You want to have them enjoy the atmosphere and all that sort of thing. But it's just too far that way now. It's too far that way at the cost of local fans, at the cost of fans who've been going for 30, 40 years. They're now just prioritising day trippers who'll come and empty the club shop and then fly home. And it'll ruin the Premier League. I mean, it already has, to an extent. It's ruined the Premier League. And it'll get worse before it gets better. And it's nothing against tourists or overseas fans, by the way. I think, in fairness, you could argue that if you're paying to come and watch Liverpool and you're willing to fly thousands of miles from Johannesburg and, pay a fortune, pay thousands of pounds as well to stay overnight just to come and watch your team, you're putting in an awful lot of commitment, maybe more so than, a guy who's got to walk up the road or get a bus or whatever. So, again, I've no problem with foreign fans, tourists, people coming from overseas. No problem at all with it. Club has to have it. Every club has to have it. They're an asset. But managed. Got to be managed. FM No Casuals, the lack of outrage is really concerning. It's the lack of outrage from Manchester United fans as well. That's what's concerning me most. The laughter that erupted from pretty much every other fan base, it should have been met with disgust by United fans who should have gone, absolutely not. There's no way you are turning out. You're not knocking Old Trafford down for that. No chance. Absolutely no chance. We will protest. That isn't happening. We won't go to the game. We're not renewing our season ticket. If people did coordinated efforts like that, they wouldn't do it. The stadium wouldn't get built. They wouldn't build it. Ben, this is it. The business side of the game more prominent now than ever. This will happen when 90% of your revenue goes on staff wages. Yeah. Yeah, there needs to be some sort of change in English football. There should be caps on ticket prices, caps on player wages. I do think FFP needs looking at as well. Fulham flying forward. There's a chance that's a yellow card. It's a yellow card for Tyler Adams, and it is. PSR killing the game too. Well, again, there's got to be a balance between that as well. Newcastle and Chelsea, I mean, particularly Newcastle right now, are arguing that, and Manchester City are arguing that their owners should be able to spend whatever they want. If they want to put £1 billion into the playing squad, then they should be able to do that. They should be able to spend whatever they want to on that squad. And while I understand that argument, then it does just become a game of the have-nots. The haves and the have-nots, doesn't it? Newcastle and Chelsea and City, who are owned by, maybe not so much Chelsea anymore, but Chelsea and City, who are owned by countries, will just buy up the best players in the game and they'll win everything. And yet, the clubs who have built English football, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, who are rich, who have historically brought the fans to the Premier League and almost created English football, at least to a degree. I'm not saying they've created it. You know what I mean? They've certainly taken English football to the rest of the world, and been the dominant force for many, many years. I think there has to be an element of protecting that as well. Like, if Bournemouth and Wigan got bought out tomorrow by sheikhs, and next season or the season after, the two biggest teams in English football were Bournemouth and Wigan, is that something that the Premier League would... Is that a product that people want to buy? Because I don't think it is. People still want to watch. Even if Liverpool... great chance for Fulham. If Liverpool and Manchester United suddenly became 15th and 16th in the league, it would still be the most watched game in the Premier League next season. And other teams will catch up. There'll be new fans and all that sort of thing in years to come. But people tune into the Premier League. They get the biggest views. Manchester United, even though they've been crap for years. So I think there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance. You wouldn't want, just because they've got rich owners, they can spend what they want. But equally, you wouldn't want a racket at the top where only Liverpool... And that's what Newcastle fans argue, is that it's a protected, Sky 6 and nobody... Which is nonsense, by the way, because look, Forest are going to get into it this season. Villa have got into it already in years gone by. There's been lots of teams who've dipped in and out of that top 6. Spurs have fallen away, United have fallen away, Chelsea did last season. So I do think there's an awful lot of movement between teams, and teams are catching those teams up. So I won't accept the argument that you can't progress within this current system. But I would also argue that there needs to be change to help the Newcastles and the Chelseas and the Cities who do want to show ambition. No problem with that. I think there has to be challenges from them. But you've still got to remember that English football is English football because of those core of teams who have done so well and founded the Premier League. Everton being one of them as well, Villa. You've got to kind of respect that a little bit as well. They would utterly ruin the league if they did that. Yeah, it would. It would kill it, wouldn't it? And it would also just attract the whole sports washing thing as well. There's loads of people who, if they could buy Premier League clubs and just funnel loads of dirty money into it, they'd do it. I mean, we've seen it happen, haven't we, in years gone by. Ben, the rules now aren't good. Seeing the swapping clubs end up doing to comply with regs is mad. Yeah, I don't like that. That should be actively discouraged, and there should be rules and fines against that, because that's gaming the system. Chance for Fulham. It will be. Oh, unlucky. Mad to think now, but Leicester were in the top 6 around 3 or 4 times in the last decade, yeah. Everton were, not that long ago. Everton were up there. Brighton, I think, are probably not that far away if they kick on. We've seen Bournemouth and Fulham as well this season. Again, they're not a million miles away. It's there is a lot of upward movement and a lot of mobility in the Premier League in the top half. And that's why we love it. That's why it's the best league in the world. It's not like La Liga where it feels like we've seen exactly the same 4 or 5 teams in and around the top 6 in La Liga for the last 10 years or so. You occasionally get an outward... You get the occasional interloper, but I don't think there's as many as there have been in England. Right, we now head into 5 minutes of stoppage time. Yeah, Girona last year. We've had Betis in years gone by. Villarreal occasionally. Sevilla occasionally. Bilbao. But generally, it's Real, Barca, Atletico, and then maybe one. Well, now 2 others. Whereas I think in England, obviously over the same period in the last 10 years, you've had Leicester, Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, United, Arsenal, Tottenham. Who am I missing? Am I missing anyone? In the top 6, even Brighton. Brighton have finished in the top 6, haven't they? Didn't they get into Europe? We've had a few teams. Either way, we've had at least 10, 11 clubs finish in the top 6. 42, how's the game been? Well, there was a goal in the first 60 seconds, and I stupidly said, this is going to be a goal glut. This is going to be goals in this game. It's going to be 2-2. It's going to be an absolute... It's going to be so many goals. And it's not really been that. It's been a bit flat, if anything. Particularly in the second half. I think it's been a better performance from Bournemouth, though. Considering they've only won 1 of their last 8 games, they just needed to get back to winning ways. And it's a big dent in Fulham's ambitions for Europe. I think it's maybe a shot in the arm that Bournemouth needed. I'm not quite sure that either team are going to qualify for Europe now. They're probably a bit just too far behind. They've got 6 or 7 points to make up on the teams above them to get into Europe. I mean, they could do, but the good thing is, the thing that's probably in their favour is that both Bournemouth and Fulham still have to play the likes of Chelsea, City, Villa. They've still got the teams around them to play. So, to a degree, it's maybe still in their hands. They're going to have bloody good runs between now and the end of the season to try and make it up and try and get back into a European position. As it stands, the teams around the top 6 that we thought may compete tonight, Bournemouth have won, Fulham have dropped points, Brighton dropping points against Leicester. That was massive. They've kind of all let each other down a bit, haven't they, in the last couple of days? And now the top 7, there's a gap between Bournemouth in 8th. Bournemouth and Fulham are both in 8th and 9th on 48 points. And then it's Aston Villa in 7th, which is currently a Europa Conference League place. Villa are in 7th on 54, level on points with Chelsea in 6th, who are also on 54. 1 point behind City in the Champions League spot in 5th on 55. And then it's Newcastle 56, Forest 57. Obviously, Newcastle have a game in hand on Forest as well. So, it's 5 minutes added time, MZ. And we are 4.5 minutes into that now. So, any moment now, it's going to blow up, I would imagine. He's Bournemouth have possession of the ball. And, I think it's pretty much done and dusted here. Ben, I always love what Bilbao do, despite their self-enforced rules regarding who they can play in the team. It's good though, isn't it? It's good to have teams who hold themselves to certain standards. MZ, easy money. Did you back Bournemouth tonight? Well done if you did. Good lad. I was stupid. I put Fulham or draw. Fulham or draw under 6 goals, I did. Fulham or draw under 6 goals, 2.5 to 1. I thought that was really good value, actually. I thought Fulham, they pinched something here tonight. Crap. A goal down within 60 seconds. Well, we're over the allotted 5 minutes of added time. They are still playing. Not sure why. I would have thought the ref would have blown up by this point. If Fulham were at home, I would have bet them, but they weren't, so I went Bournemouth. Game could have gone either way. Yeah, it was one of them, wasn't it? It was a tight one. I just looked at the form, mate, and I thought Bournemouth have been really poor recently. They've got 1 win in their last 8 games, and that was a penalty shootout win over Wolves. Fulham weren't much better. They had 4 wins in their last 8, and one of them was a penalty shootout win over United. But hey, I guess we'll see how these two kick on now. It's a big win for Bournemouth, I have to say. A very, very big win. Ben, I like Joachim Andersen. They paid 30 million quid for him, didn't they, from Palace? He wasn't a cheap signing at all. It was a big, big signing. Andoni Iraola's screaming at the ref here, saying, what is going on? Why is it not finished? Why are you not blowing up? It's blown up there now. It's done. It's Bournemouth 1. Bournemouth 1. Fulham 0. And that's the game, chaps and chapettes. Big win for Bournemouth, that. It doesn't maybe move the needle on European qualification for either of these two sides. I think if anything, it might actually put the nail in the coffin for both of them. But better form from Bournemouth, the fact that they were able to see this win out. They went 1-0 up within 60 seconds and still saw the game out, which is a step forward for Bournemouth. It is. It's a step forward. It's breaking new ground because they've been far too reckless when they've gone a goal up in the past. But it's a big, big performance, a big win. And yeah, let me know in the chat what you're thinking. I've got to say, MZ, RDR, what team do you support? I'm a Liverpool fan, mate. I'm a Liverpool fan. But I watch every single Premier League game going, and I'm watching the Champions League games this week, by the way, if you're in the chat. Don't know whatever platform you're watching it on. TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on them all. But we'll be live tomorrow night again from about 7:30 UK time, wherever you are, 7:30. I'll be live for Aston Villa against PSG. So we'll see if Aston Villa can turn that one around. They're they're doing well in the league, aren't they, Aston Villa, in terms of maybe qualifying for the Champions League again via their league position. So even if they were to go out of Europe, it's not the end of the world for them. But I think they might do well in the league, but I think they might go out on Tuesday. On Wednesday night, there is a Premier League game going on. It's Newcastle against Crystal Palace. Newcastle's game in hand on Forest. Can Newcastle leapfrog Palace? That's at 7:30. And that is when my stream will be starting, 7:30 on Wednesday night. I'll keep you updated on that game. But we are watching Arsenal against Real Madrid in Real Madrid. Real Madrid against Arsenal at the Bernabeu. So, yeah, I'm going to be watching that one on Wednesday night. Can Real Madrid turn that tie around, do you think? Can Real Madrid score an early goal and put Arsenal under pressure? I think they can. I've got to say, I think they can. I think Real Madrid can pinch something in that first half, and just maybe Arsenal can bottle it. What do we think? Am I getting ahead of myself? Am I being too naive? I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. I'll be live for it either way. And if Real Madrid can turn that round, won't it be so good? Oh, it'd be so good to see that Lego-headed shitbag Arteta crying into his beer after the game. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see that one. And then Thursday night, I'm going to do the early kickoff. Fiorentina against Celje in the Europa Conference League at 5:30. And then 8 o'clock, Manchester United against Lyon at Old Trafford. 2-2 from the first leg. Last minute equaliser from Ryan Cherky. So that game's delicately poised too. So we've got loads going on, and then it's Good Friday. So I think I might do a game on Good Friday afternoon, maybe Coventry against West Brom, maybe one of the Championship games. A couple of teams around the playoffs there, so it'll be interesting to watch them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Loads of football this week, loads going on. We'll have videos coming out every single day on YouTube, on TikTok, on X, on all the platforms. If you haven't yet, go and give us a follow on YouTube. Go and, if you get 2 minutes, it makes a massive difference to the channel. If you can help us, if you can do one thing to help the channel at all, if you want to help me and support me in any way, go to YouTube, search Premier League Dad, give us a subscribe, like the video. It makes loads of difference. Massively helps me. So thank you for doing that if you have done that already. But if not, I'll see you tomorrow, probably Tuesday night, for Aston Villa against PSG. I'm going to end the stream shortly. If you've got anything, any ideas, anything you want to mention, I'm open to all ideas for the streams to try and make things a bit more interesting. Different things we can do as the game's going on. Drop me a message in on TikTok or wherever you see me. I've got all my socials in the description. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for being in the chat tonight. Thanks everyone who watched. And thanks everyone who subscribed. Thanks to everyone who gifted as well. And yeah, love yous loads. See yous tomorrow night.